Sam. Steffi, thank you. More ACC women's hoops coming your way from Reynolds Coliseum in Raleigh, North Carolina, as the second-ranked NC State Wolfpack hosts Virginia in their ACC home opener. The Wolfpack looking to bounce back after a loss against Georgia on Thursday. Hey everybody, I'm Jen Hildreth along with Debbie Antonelli. It is NC State's annual holiday game, so you're going to see a lot of holiday flair. Debbie and I got in the spirit a little bit. We went for our meaningful sweaters rather than the ugly sweaters to start things off. But Debbie, for NC State, the question, how will this team bounce back? What are you looking for from them after their last loss?
Well, I'm expecting them, Jen, to bounce back in a big way. I mean, they have to be a little bit tougher and grittier and play with a little bit more discipline on the defensive end. And I think we'll see that today because Virginia has a chance to challenge them. And in order for NC State to get back on track, it's the ACC Preseason Player of the Year, Elisa Cunane, at 6'5", in their 4-out, 1-in motion. They play through her and to her. They've got to get her to the ball where she can be effective, get her a quality touch where she can go to work early. She's got to stay disciplined on the defensive end so she can play some quality minutes for NC State. And to counter what Elisa Cunane does on the inside, it's Diamond Johnson on the outside. Quick, athletic, change of pace, plays at all three levels, very good off the bounce, can get where she needs to go off the bounce to get to her spots, to make plays. 18 shots a game, and she has deserved them. She can shoot the three. She's terrific in the backcourt with Reina Perez. And NC State, Jen, has tremendous balance on their offensive side of the ball. All five of these players, no one plays more than 30 minutes a game. They have 7 different scorers that have led them in this season. They have 7 different starters that can play multiple positions, and 4 of these 5 have shot better than 40% from the floor. This is a very good offensive team, and as the number 2 team in the country, they need to show up and play like it today.
Well, NC State with the balance. Virginia, they know they need a big game from number 23, Amandine Tois.
Well, Amandine Tois is the top of the scouting report. She's got to have a big number in order for them to pull an upset on the road at NC State. She's got to be able to get to her spots, score in transition, find easy buckets, get to the free throw line. She's certainly capable. They're counting on her for the Virginia Cavaliers.
ACC opener for Virginia. NC State already 1-0 in conference play after picking up a win on the road at Pittsburgh earlier this season. This is their first one on their home floor, though. Reynolds Coliseum, always a great place to take in a basketball game. And Virginia coming off an 11-day layoff. They've been in finals. We'll see how they start this game. NC State and Kitley now trying to get it over to Perez. You see their starting 5. Crutchfield, Jakia Brown-Turner. Some familiar names in there along with Cunane and Kayla Jones.
Well, NC State's first possession, not a good possession, turning the ball over.
Starting 5 for a pretty new look Virginia team this year that obviously did not get to play much of a season last year. It was cut off. They have several transfers coming in. Carol Miller is one of the familiar faces along with Amandine Tois, but Taylor Valladay, Cameron Taylor, both transfers from Marquette. And then Elea Parker, transfer from Penn, back in the starting lineup. The 6'4" grad transfer, see what she can do for the Cavaliers.
Well, I think Coach Thompson goes with a little more size to try to help on the glass. They need a defensive rebound and not give NC State second chance opportunities.
And they do so this possession. Now can the Cavaliers find a little offense? Rebound goes to Perez. One of maybe the more consistent players for this Wolfpack team on the season. NC State had won 10 in a row before that loss against Georgia, and they knocked down the 3 to start off the scoring in this one.
Kayla Jones, one of those players that helps NC State to become number 2 in the country in three-point shooting percentage at 42% as a team. That's outstanding.
Yeah, I was with you, Debbie. Thought that one was a 3. Apparently they're calling it a 2. Kayla Jones had her foot on the line. Another try from the corner off the front of the rim. Taylor spinning to the basket for Virginia. Crutchfield will try the jumper, and it's good. So much experience on this NC State team. Kai Crutchfield, a graduate student, along with Perez, Jones. Canaan is a senior. No baseline drive to be had, but the offensive rebound, and that gets the Cavaliers on the board. Parker with the first points for Virginia.
Really
Perez.
good ball movement this possession.
And they get the bucket.
Yeah, when they go inside, get ball reversal, get a couple of sides, switching sides of the floor, they're going to get an open look.
Here is Twa, the player who we said had to get going for Virginia. That's a good sign. They need her to have that three ball going. She leads the team in triples this season. That's number 17, and a big three for Virginia.
So you start the game with a little bit of a cushion. However, as the game goes on, if she makes another three, you have to adjust.
Drive to the basket by Brown Turner for her first points. And I know, Debbie, this is the end of the floor that you are really paying attention to NC State in this game, right? Their offense, we know how good it can be, but the defense was what Wes Moore was really scratching his head about when we talked to him a couple days ago.
Well, they need to be one and done. They need to rotate and communicate. They need to be connected. I know they're connected on the offensive end. I want to see if they're connected defensively and if they can make open shots.
Canaan had the offensive rebound, was fouled.
Yeah, this is the kind of toughness I'm talking about right here. Elisa Canaan has got position. She's got two hands on the ball. She's got to secure that rebound for NC State. Good effort by Parker.
Tip on the ball. Finds it in the hands of Twa for the drive, up and in. Two-point game and a little bit of defensive pressure now from Virginia. London Clarkson, number 34, is checked in for the Cavaliers. And they get the turnover.
See, look at the body language of NC State. They know they need to have a better start coming off the overtime loss. Look at Twa up the floor. They do a nice job of getting a defensive stop with a steal, or excuse me, with a block. And then they're up the floor scoring quickly before NC State can set their defense.
Now Virginia with a chance to tie or take the lead. This is Taylor Valladay, one of the two transfers from Marquette, uses her left hand to tie it at 9.
That's exceptional quicks right there by Valladay. Does a nice job of ball faking or foot faking and getting herself a little separation. Then she picks up a foul trying to pick up full court pressure on Perez.
Canaan got open, got herself a little bit too deep, but made it work anyway.
Everybody lifted above the free throw line. Canaan isolated down low. It's a good job of getting her the basketball in good real estate with a quality catch.
Good game so far in Raleigh. The ACC opener for Virginia. The Cavaliers trailing the second-ranked Wolfpack by 2. All right, in case you missed the action from Thursday night, this top 20 matchup between Georgia and NC State. Jenna Stady going to work, 21 points, 11 boards for the Dogs. When Canaan was out, she took advantage. Lisa Canaan had some foul trouble the first half, came back, had 18 of her 20 points after halftime, but Sarah Ashley Barker hits that three to send the game to overtime. Canaan had a shot at the end, no foul was called, and NC State goes down, suffering just their second loss of the season.
Well, first of all, it's not a bad loss for the number 2 team in the country in overtime at home. Georgia is an excellent basketball team that has a chance to be a second weekend team. So I don't think that loss hurts NC State unless they don't learn from it. certainly Georgia's going to learn a lot from them. I thought they played well down the stretch and executed. And NC State's got to learn from some of the mistakes that they made.
Perez is fouled on this shot. Debbie, what are a couple of those? If you had to pick a few, I know you mentioned defense being one of the things you were keying in on.
I think it's more intangibles than it is skill set. You know, I think Wes Moore has what he needs. He's got 7 starters, basically. He's been able to figure out some rotation with how he wants to play and times of the game, different ways and tempos he wants to play. I think it's a matter of a veteran, older team taking accountability for their results and not letting Wes have to deal with having to manage, you know, thinking that he's got to second guess himself about all his decision makings. The players should decide how the outcome of the game, not the coaches.
Yeah, Wes Moore admitted as much. I guess it was yesterday that we did talk to him, and he said, I'm still not quite over it. I need to turn the page before I head off to practice with my team and move on. And certainly wanting his team to do the same. 4 on the shot clock now for the Cavaliers. Trying to get a look. They cannot. Good defensive stop right there by the Wolfpack.
See, that's the kind of defensive effort that NC State needs to exhibit on every possession defensively. I think that's the difference in not playing to the level of your opponent, but playing to your level.
Well, Virginia had a tough start in this game. They were 0 for 5 to start as Canane's turnaround won't go. They made 4 of their next 5. The last couple of trips have come up empty. Shot clock getting towards single digits again. A block in the post. Jada Boyd, one of the best sparks off the bench. One of those essentially 7 starters that Wes Moore has at his disposal. Tina Thompson had a tremendous career we all know about as a Hall of Famer, as a player. Her 4th season as a head coach at Virginia, but just those 5 games played last season. So it's been a long time, and she admitted to us, Debbie, that maybe they underestimated a little bit. Her team coming in with a record of 3-7, what those in-game minutes would do for their players and how they really miss those. They've been working out on their own a lot, but just getting those game minutes has been part of their struggles here early on.
Well, I thought she was right on about timing in her offense. I mean, making a really good self-assessment of where they are and what they need to do this year to have success in the ACC. You know, Tina sees the game through greatness, right? Her lens is the greatest lens, and so she has high expectation for what her team should do and how they should execute. They certainly play hard. That's not the issue.
Foul against London Clarkson off the ball. Will turn it over. Diamond Johnson is in the game for NC State. There's a foul on the 3-point attempt. Crutchfield set an NC State record last season, made 47% of her 3-pointers. She leads the team again from 3-point range, shooting over 54% this season. And for Twa, that is her 2nd personal foul.
Yeah, that's a problem for Virginia if she has to step off the floor. And let's see what Coach Thompson decides to do if she'll leave her in. You know, can you trust your graduate student to play with 2?
Tuesday at 6 Eastern here on ACCN and the ESPN app. We'll have the Huddle Bowl preview show. Jordan Cornette, Eric McLean, EJ Manuel, and Mark Richt. We'll take a look at the 10 ACC teams playing in a bowl game with team breakdowns and comprehensive analysis like only the guys can provide. The ACC sent at least 10 teams to a bowl every year since 2016.
Well, it looks like Coach Thompson has decided to trust. So maybe she goes offense, defense the remainder of the quarter. But also, if you're NC State, you have to recognize that. And the next set down the floor should be making Twa play defense on somebody off the bounce.
Canane playing some defense as Taylor tried to go to the basket. Keep an eye on number 23. She's guarding Crutchfield, who has the ball at the moment. Crutchfield found Canane, who got the friendly roll.
A really nice slip, a great read, and again, because the weak side is lifted above the free throw line, which is a very well-designed play to keep the weak side D busy. It gives Canane space to get to the rim. Elevator door screens, and if she's in there, you got to run plays for her with those 2 fouls. Very well done by Trois.
Second triple for Trois. She has 8 to lead Virginia. Boyd just was patient, and the defense parted, and she got the bucket.
It's a really nice job by Perez. She certainly understands the 3 W's, Jen, who to get the ball to, when and where. She gets a piece of the paint, makes a play on balance to a slashing Jada Boyd for a layup. Look at this slip right here by Canane. A great finish at the rim. And then the elevator door, watch the doors close. Oh, top floor, maybe the penthouse. Bucket, Trois.
Well, that inbounds play was saved by Taylor, just picking it back up, but in the end, it's a turnover anyway. Canane has the range. She's added that to her repertoire last couple of years.
And you know what, I like it, Jen. You know, she's 3 for 7. She shoots the trail 3. They haven't run as much pick and pop game for her, but she's certainly capable. But she needs to be able to be more aggressive offensively. She's got to look to take that shot. She was wide open.
I wonder how hard that is. You know, her personality is always on display. Your nickname, Big Smile, is certainly stuck, and it is so fitting for the way that Elisa Canane plays the game with such joy. But, you know, NC State, and what's more, needing that toughness, and they need it inside out of her.
There's no question she has to play big every night. Bigger than her 6'5" personality. Right? I mean, Wes would always talk about he needs her to snarl a little bit more. That big smile comes in reference to her love for the game and her teammates.
Hard. That's hard, though, isn't it? That's just not your nature to try to find that edge. Johnson, a little too high for Canane. Well, it sounded pretty, but it won't count.
I think they got a foul on the floor.
We shall see. A little bit of confusion as the referees get together.
Unless there was something with the shot clock.
Eric Bruton, Jennifer Rizak, Katie Lukanich are officials this afternoon. Well, it's Valadie defending. Tina Thompson's going to get the explanation.
The play is under review for a possible clock malfunction with the shot clock.
It sounds like clock malfunction is what they are looking into here. Possible clock malfunction with the shot clock, as you may have heard. Well, this gives each head coach a chance to talk things over for these final 20 seconds and change, Debbie. So you wanted to see a good, strong start from NC State. Have you gotten it?
I'm not giving them an A+.
After review, the shot clock will be turned off. There was team control by Virginia. The game clock was below 30. So right now it will be NC State's ball, baseline, with no shot clock.
Thank you, Eric, for that explanation. Debbie, go ahead. No A+ for you for NC State.
Yeah, I think they're you know, they've given up offensive rebounds. They've turned the ball over. I'm looking for crisp and clean execution out of a veteran team. They just need to sharpen up some of their detail. And if you're Virginia, you have to be pleased. You got Twa with 2 fouls. It's a 7-point game. NC State right now has a chance on situational offense on a baseline out of bounds play to really execute here the last possession of the quarter.
Twa 3 for 3 for her 8 points. The rest of the team, though, 2 for 11, just 4 points. So she needs a little help for the Cavaliers to continue to hang tough. Johnson off the inbounds.
I know that's the out of bounds play, and it was open. However, that's a play that I may want to take back and work for the last possession, especially if they score here, which they do.
They
so
do.
Now that's a huge play right here if you don't get a bucket.
Caden Lawson had the bucket for Virginia. And that gives us a 4-point ball game after the first quarter. So Caden Lawson, Debbie, coming off the bench hitting a big shot.
Well, an extra possession for Virginia by NC State shooting too quickly at the end of the quarter. Virginia makes them pay.
Certainly a festive feeling in the stands at Reynolds Coliseum. Still to be determined on the court, although the Wolfpack do have a 4-point lead over Virginia after the first quarter. Virginia, Debbie, hanging in 3 for 3 from 3-point range. They only average 3.8 made threes a game.
Yeah, Jen, I mean, it speaks to what we were talking about before, about NC State doing a better job on the defensive end to start the game. And, you know, Amandine Twa with those 2 fouls. Coach Thompson trusts her. And, you know, I like it. I think you got to roll the dice if you're going to try to knock off the top team. You can't certainly win the game with her on the bench.
Camille Hobby in for NC State. And Kayla Jones back on the floor for the Wolfpack, along with Jakia Brown-Turner. Hobby, offensive board for 2.
But because Jakia Brown-Turner could get by her primary defender, she forced the rotation, and the weak side glass is open.
Here's Lawson, who hit that 3 toward the end of the first quarter. Valadie takes it herself off the glass and in. 4 points for Valadie.
And that's exactly the way you need to attack NC State, is off the bounce. There are certain foot speed matchups that Virginia might have an advantage over. Westmore trying to get Jakia Brown-Turner going with that play, and Reina Perez drains it on the skip.
Perez averaging 9 points per game on the season. 47% three-point shooter.
I gotta believe Reina Perez is on some WNBA teams' draft boards. She certainly would be on mine.
The former Big West Player of the Year, a godsend, as Westmore has many times called her, coming to NC State and now getting an extra year after the extra year of eligibility granted due to the COVID season last year. Kayla Jones, such an integral part of this NC State team, often referred to as the glue for the Wolfpack. Brown-Turner, little ball fake. Got herself an open look.
Boy, if anybody needed to see a big basket for NC State, it's Jakia Brown-Turner. She has not been as aggressive as she's capable of playing, and I hope that shot will get her going because she needs some confidence boost.
Averages just under 9 points per game. Honorable mention, All-American last season, Brown-Turner, and first-team All-ACC pick. Twa with the drive to the basket, and it's good. She's in double digits.
Again, long, athletic, able to get to her spots off the bounce. She's played better since she got 2 fouls. Maybe she knows she doesn't have to play that much defense.
Camille Hobby, nice little production off the bench for NC State as well. 4 points in this quarter. goes inside to Parker. Had it blocked by Hobby. And Hobby doing just enough to get the tie-up.
Yeah, Camille Hobby, she brings toughness, and she brings a solid effort off the bench. Here's Perez from 3 after a nice one dribble and kick by Kayla Jones. And then Jakia Brown-Turner, again, a one dribble move. You only need 1 or 2 in the quarter court. NC State doing a good job of improving their shooting angles.
And that's NC State in a nutshell, isn't it? We're talking about Hobby and what she does, and then we've got Perez draining a 3. You've got Brown-Turner hitting a shot. The balance of this NC State team, certainly such a strength. Twa.
Look at that box out. Now that's going to look good on film tomorrow.
And point guard with the rebound.
Now they're moving the ball. Look, the ball's not getting stuck. People are cutting. The ball is moving.
Well, Hobby picked it up. May have been bailed out a little bit there by Parker, who committed the foul.
Yeah, totally bailed out, Jen. There's 12 on the shot clock. Maybe Hobby thought there was less.
Parker's first, team's first of the period.
First foul on Parker. Two-time Ivy League Defensive Player of the Year when she was at Penn. This is her first year with Virginia. Wednesday night, great men's basketball matchup coming your way. Clemson is in Charlottesville to take on Virginia at JPJ Arena, 8 Eastern, right here on ACCN and the ESPN app. Both of those teams looking to keep things going after closing out their non-conference season with wins over the weekend.
Clemson with a big win in state over South Carolina.
Those always feel like they should count for more. It's rivalry wins. NC State has made their last 4 field goal attempts. Make it 5 as Perez makes it rain again.
Here we go, Reina Perez, 3 for 3 outside the three-point line, and it forces Virginia into a timeout. Reina Perez led the league in assist turnover, but she also can call her own number. Perez is hot.
Reina Perez hasn't necessarily been asked to carry as much of the scoring load since coming to NC State as she did when she was with Cal State Fullerton, averaging almost 20 points per game. But you know what, Debbie, when you're feeling it and you're hot, you're going to keep on taking those threes. Why not? Perfect 3 of 3 so far for the point guard.
I mean, come on, Jen. Reina Perez has scored over 1,600 points in her career. She doesn't turn the ball over. She's smart and she works hard. Look at her on the backside right there helping on D. She knows how to read, and NC State has played much better and much more connected here defensively start of the second quarter.
How much of that do you think, Debbie, is, for better or for worse, fueled by their offense, by when things are clicking on their offense, that picks them up on their defense?
Well,
or not?
I definitely see the game through an offensive lens. So when you score, you can play whatever D that you want to play. And when you score, you typically get back and can set your defense and make it much more challenging for the other team. And I think NC State has done that to increase their scoring lead here in the second quarter.
12-2 run by the Wolfpack. That last play, a foul on Cameron Taylor, her first for Virginia. Hobby going to work. This has been Camille Hobby's quarter. She might share it a little bit with Perez, but Hobby, 8 points off the bench this quarter alone.
Now, I'm a big fan of Camille Hobby because of her work ethic, because she didn't play her freshman year. She stayed. She's been a backup player, and she's been a star in her role. I wish more players had that kind of attitude. She wants to win. She's about making winning plays.
Good look inside from Twa to find London Clarkson, the Florida State transfer.
Watch Camille Hobby. She's going to get a one-on-one here. You've got to get a bucket right here. Look at how her footwork. She moves. She takes 2 steps to the midline and then turns back over her right shoulder That is a terrific low post move.
Hobby committing the foul on this end of the floor. Her first, putting Clarkson on the line. Junior out of Jacksonville, Florida. Former Florida Player of the Year. Dad, assistant football coach with the Miami Dolphins. Long three is good. And that's Lawson again. 2 for 2 for the sophomore out of Cleveland, Ohio. See if that offense fires up the Virginia defense a little bit. It's tough to stop Jada Boyd, though. She makes it look easy.
As long as NC State can get some back to the basket or some points in the paint, it changes the spacing around their three-point shooting ability. They are the second best three-point shooting team in the country right now.
Second best in three-point percentage, 8th overall in field goal percentage in the country. They lead the ACC in both those categories. Twa.
Look at the D in the second quarter. NC State has done a much better job. Remember, I used the words like toughness and connected. They look all of that here in the second.
Yeah, you know, Debbie, and you asked when we were in break if you were maybe being a little tough on them, and the reality is they accept that toughness, don't they? Because they know the bar is so high. They're the #2 team in the country. They have aspirations of going to a Final Four and a national championship, and it's going to be some of those intangibles because we know they've got all the pieces they need to get where they want to go.
Well, if you want to be good, that's fine. If you want to be great, it's going to require a little bit more. But if you want to be elite and go where NC State thinks they can go to the Final Four this year, you've got to do everything well in terms of making sure winning is more important than anything else.
Jakia Brown-Turner into a lot of traffic as she is fouled. By the way, Virginia hanging in this thing rather unconventionally based on what they've done. Tina Thompson telling us if they were to have a chance today, they're going to have to be better than what they've shown so far. They've certainly done that with their three-point shooting. They're 5 of 7 as a team, 71% from three. Tuesday night here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Men's hoops, the Tar Heels hosting Appalachian State at the Dean Smith Center at 7 Eastern. North Carolina looking to bounce back after that loss out in Las Vegas against the Wildcats. Good quick points for Virginia.
Hey, North Carolina has got to bounce back from that loss to Kentucky, and Dustin Kearns, the head coach from Appalachian State, has a veteran backcourt. They'll bring it to Chapel Hill. North Carolina is going to have to be able to play well.
Travel will turn it over back to Virginia. Jada Boyd out the first 5 games of the season, was dealing with a wrist injury, and her minutes have only been right about 13 per game since then. It always seems to be this puzzle piece for Wes Moore of how he gets her more minutes because he knows how valuable she is. Look inside, the defense was there, good help defense, both Boyd and Brown-Turner collapsing.
Well, you know what, Jen, yesterday I had the Stanford-Tennessee game, and Tara Vanderveer, the all-time winningest coach in the history of our game, says she tells these players these 5 words: force me to play you. Everybody thinks that coaches decide playing time. Players decide it in practice. If you want to play, you need to do something exceptional to get on the court with the amount of depth and the talent that NC State has. You got to figure out how to be a star in your role. Force me to play you.
I like it. Diamond Johnson back out on the floor for NC State. Perez adds another 2 to her tally.
I mean, she doesn't force anything. I don't know if she's ever taking a bad shot. She's such a good decision maker, whether it's distributing for others or knowing when to pull up and shoot it. She's really tough to guard because she's not a pass first or a score first point guard. She's a balance of both. 50-50, which makes it tough.
Valladay had the baseline and the bucket. And she'll get a chance from the free throw line as well.
Now, I'm going to tell you something now. Taylor Valladay, the 5'7" junior, the transfer from Marquette, showing us a little something here early. I mean, she's good off the bounce. She can get past her primary defender. Nice hesitation, ball fake, finish with contact to get to the line.
Second foul on Boyd. Seven points in the game for Valladay.
Hey, if you can get
Virginia
this
within striking distance.
Yes, exactly, Jen. You can keep this to 3 possessions, single digits. I think Tina Thompson would be pleased, and Twa has not picked up a third.
The officials.
Issue with clock again.
Yeah, whistle to stop play. I think what's even more impressive, Debbie, with Virginia hanging in there, 9 points down, is how efficient NC State has been. I mean, they made 8 of their last 9 shots.
Well, clearly their best basketball is in front of them. And Wes Moore has played probably the most challenging schedule in the history of NC State this year. And he did it at the right time with the right group of players. I mean, look, Wes Moore has been a head coach for 33 years. And only one time has he had a season where he was below 500. That's amazing. Right? I mean, you highlighted he's been National Coach of the Year, back-to-back ACC champions.
Yeah.
I think I often reference him. I reference Katie Meyer the same way. When their offense is in front of them in the second half, they become essentially like the 6th player or 6th point guard. Second point guard.
9 on the shot clock. Twa with the shot. Virginia had made its last 3 shots before that possession. Johnson so quick down the floor to find Brown Turner. Virginia with the chance to have the last say in the second quarter. Shot from the corner is off the mark, and Lawson doing all she can to try to keep it in bounds. But it'll go to NC State. And nothing doing there, so that will do it for our first half. 42-31 the score. Second-ranked NC State leading Virginia. Both teams really pushing there in that second quarter. It's a busy day. Quadruple header of ACC women's basketball here on ACC Network. You know, you need our people in the studio to get you all caught up, so we'll send you there now with Dallin, Muffet, and Kelly.
Thank you, Jen. The incomparable Jen Hildreth. At the break, 42-31, NC State is up. That is Muffet McGraw, the Hall of Famer, Kelly Gramlich. Outstanding shooter, best shooter on the set for sure, and myself, Dallin Cuff. 11-point lead for NC State, coming off that loss to Georgia. Georgia's a good team. Obviously, it was a wild game, but NC State wanted to bounce back as they started league play. Kelly, what have you seen so far?
I've seen Reyna Perez making it Reyna, as she
Yeah.
does. She's played really well as of late. It was a clean first half for NC State, only 3 turnovers in 20 minutes. I'm going to throw it to Coach, though, because I don't know if Coach is completely pleased with NC State's efforts.
I do love Reyna Perez, and I think she is somebody that's out there trying to prove something about this NC State team. But you learn so much about the character of your team after a loss. And I wasn't happy with the character of the team. Offensively, they're doing great, but that's not where you see what your team is really like. It's the defensive side, and Virginia's got way too many points at 31.
So they're up 11. What if you're Coach Moore and you're going into break? Then what's your message? Your team's coming off the losses you mentioned. They're up 11. They play the toughest schedule in the country. So what are you saying to them at the break?
Yeah, I'm not happy. I'm going to point out all those defensive miscues that we had and just talk more about how we have to bring up the intensity. You got to set the tone. You got to come out of the gate right away saying you cannot play with us. You shouldn't be on the same court with us, and we're not doing that right now.
It's funny, Kelly did say Virginia's hanging, and then UNC State went on a 14-2 run and created some space. But I see what you're saying. But after the break, we get back to the action. Jakia Brown-Turner off the dish from Diamond Johnson. The Pack is up 11. Can they close the deal? We'll find out from Raleigh with Jen and Debbie next.
I know we're just starting conference play, but come on, it's never too early to look ahead to March Madness, especially when you've got some teams in this league who could be right there in that dance. And we are at halftime, 42-31, second-ranked NC State leading Virginia. That's kind of our story so far. Jen Hildreth, Debbie Antonelli, UVA, Debbie really using the three to keep them in it.
I think Virginia has done a nice job of managing the minutes of Amandine Twa because Tina Thompson had her with 2 fouls early in the first quarter and decided to let her stay. I think it's a brilliant coaching move if you want to win the game. You're playing on the road against the #2 team. You got to have your best player on the floor, and you got to trust. That's a big turning point in the game for Virginia. On the other side, I thought NC State's second quarter was outstanding. I thought they connected on the defensive end. They played with great toughness. They allowed one shot. They got out on the break. They moved the ball. They were in rhythm offensively, and those are the things they're going to need to continue to do in the second half.
The question we asked at the outset of this broadcast was, what would NC State need to do? What do they want to do today to bounce back after the loss to Georgia on Thursday? And in a very festive holiday atmosphere, it is the holiday game for NC State in Reynolds Coliseum. The team delivered it. It may be a little slow going in terms of bringing that intensity and that toughness you were looking for, Debbie, but you're right, that second quarter looking like the #2 team in the country.
So NC State turned it over 2 times early. The first possession of the game and then a couple of possessions after that. They've only turned it over 1 time since. They have to do a better job defending the 3-point line. Virginia 5 for 9. And you have to know where number 23 is, Amandine Twa.
10 points in the game for Twa. This is Carol Miller, who got a friendly roll. Another 3 going down for the Cavaliers.
Well, they're really shooting the ball exceptionally well outside the arc. Virginia's a team that comes into the game shooting 26% beyond the arc, and they are 6 for 10.
Maybe they got a lot of shots up during that 11-day break, Debbie, with finals. Didn't have any games in 11 days, so Virginia not showing any rust in the 3-point shot anyway, as Kanane has her first points of the second half, 6 in the game for NC State.
On a repost, which means to me NC State is connected. They're trying to play through Kanane. They want to get the ball inside, and they do a good job of isolating her around the interior. At 6'5", she should be able to score. Watch this, the pass goes in. Look, she's going to position, repost, back inside, defense behind, bucket, NC State.
And it's been a big learning curve for Elea Parker, number 21 there for Virginia. It was a 2-time Ivy League Defensive Player of the Year, but coming to the ACC is a different animal now, and Kanane getting the best of her on both ends of the floor those last couple possessions.
4 out, 1 in, go to work. Back-to-back buckets, Elisa Kanane.
The leading scorer for the Wolfpack, the preseason ACC Player of the Year. Had 20 points in that loss to Georgia on Thursday, 18 of those coming in either the second half or overtime. Cameron Taylor did well just to hang on to that ball. And then she is fouled, trying to go to the basket.
Look at Kanane, looks over her right shoulder, knows she's got a one-on-one. You can't bring help. She demands a double, but if you bring help, she's going to kick it to a 3-point shooter. Very well executed by NC State.
So in the first, not even 2 minutes, she's already equaled her point total from the first half.
Well, remember, Jen, in the Georgia loss, she had 2 points in the first half, 18 in second half and overtime. And you know what? She missed a shot at the end. I thought there was contact on that. She also missed 2 free throws as an 80% free throw shooter, which was very surprising. With the competitor that she is, you got to move on to what my friend Kevin Eastman would say, next and every. Next play, every play. Kevin Eastman, one of the best clinicians I've ever been around and one of the best teachers of the game.
I know you're always looking to pick up some good nuggets, Debbie, from whoever you happen to brush elbows with.
Cavaliers foul charge to number 34, London Clarkson.
Foul on Virginia goes against Clarkson, her third.
Team's first of the period.
Clarkson certainly happy to finally be getting to play this season. Had transferred and was granted immediate eligibility last season for Virginia, but that didn't happen until they didn't have any more games to play. They'd already ended their season early, transferred in from Florida State.
They bring the double that time, and Kayla Jones gets a wide open three.
Here is Twa inside to Taylor. She'll step back.
Cameron Taylor having a tough go this afternoon. 1-10.
Brown Turner can't get it, but Kayla Jones finishes off with the rebound.
And this is a critical stretch right here for Virginia. You mentioned it earlier, Jen. They hadn't played in 11 days. Exam week, which you know is tough on the grounds. This is when fatigue starts to kick in. They've got to get a second win right here.
Foul on the floor.
Well, that elevator door play works because they've scored on it. Coach Thompson told us, you know, when we talked to her on Friday, she said she knew the academics were challenging at Virginia, but she didn't realize, you know, how tough it was going to be.
Inside it goes, and Taylor, offensive foul, her second personal.
There's Cameron Taylor, number 20 for Virginia. She's the 6'2" junior that has led them in scoring this season, but having a tough go, only one basket, which was a three.
Jones, deep two. Well, Brown Turner nearly snagged away the rebound. Twa. Cavaliers could use a bucket from her, and they get it. Her first points of this third quarter.
Again, Taylor Valladay getting deep penetration, and the fill behind the penetration leaves an open shot. And then playing off the drag screen. Reyna Perez, so smart.
Nothing but perfection for Perez so far this afternoon. A perfect 5 of 5 from the floor, 14 points.
No turnovers. Got to add that in there because that's a huge part of her storyline every game.
A little out of control there by Miller as ball goes out of bounds.
Look at Valladay right here, get a piece of the paint. Twa fills behind in transition, buries another triple. And then Perez off the Cunane screen. I think Elisa Cunane is an elite level screener. She knows how to take a defender out.
You know, Debbie, I think that's one of those parts of the game that you could easily take for granted. That you just think a screen is a screen, but clearly you see something the way that Cunane does it that makes her stand out above the rest.
She just set 3 screens in that one set right there and got herself a deep position catch.
Foul against Virginia as Cunane working the basket.
Elisa Cunane has made more free throws than anyone in the history of NC State basketball.
Well, Tuesday at 6 Eastern, want to remind you about the Huddle Bowl Preview Show here on ACCN. Jordan Cornette, Eric McLean, EJ Manuel, and Mark Richt will take a look at the 10 ACC teams playing in a bowl game with team breakdowns and comprehensive analysis like only the guys can provide. Yeah, let's see, Debbie. That would be 440 career free throws made for Elisa Cunane now. more than any other Wolfpack player. Inside, and Boyd is fouled.
Virginia foul number 34, London Clarkson. Her fourth.
That's the fourth personal against Clarkson, who has been an important player, whether starting or coming off the bench for Tina Thompson this year. Started 5 games, came off the bench in this one. And boy, wouldn't NC State like to see Jada Boyd, as you said, Debbie, just get back into a groove offensively, especially because she's so good when she does shoot, but just 21 field goal attempts on the season coming into today.
I'm not really worried about Jada Boyd because I think she, along with Diamond Johnson off the bench, bring an incredible burst of energy and change of pace. You know, I mean, they come in and something is going to happen. She's a terrific offensive rebounder. She's a good straight line driver. Dot can go wherever she wants off the bounce. See, like right here, you got to run the floor hard.
Perez behind the back to Canane. Give her an assist.
Well, one of the things that Wes Moore talked to us about yesterday was playing better defense without fouling and keeping the opponent off the free throw line. Virginia has only made 3 trips to the free throw line so far in the game. So they are playing better defense, holding them to 38 points.
Kick out for 3. Virginia in this game has made as many 3-point baskets as they have 2. That could be good or bad, depending how you look at it. NC State was ready to run, and Canane thought she had a good second look at it, had it swatted away.
See, that time, Canane, I'd like to see a pump fake on that rebound. And a use of the left hand. Look at Perez, just dealing right now.
Oh, she is fouled. And NC State rolling here in the third quarter in Reynolds, up 54-38 over Virginia. Cameron Taylor picked up the foul just before the break, and just wanted to share with the story that we just heard about Cameron and what she's been going through. She lost her mother, Nicole Handy, in October. Her mom was just 43 years old, had had a lifelong battle with multiple different types of cancers, and very close with Cameron. And one of the things that her mom always said that she loved to do, that made her the happiest, was watching her daughter play basketball and seeing a big smile on her face. And Tina Thompson, when we talked to her, Debbie, just talked about how tough a kid that Cameron Taylor really is, that most people have no idea what she's been going through. And yet here she is, her first year with Virginia, transfer from Marquette, and has an opportunity really to play a pretty big part on this Virginia team this year.
Well, I think Cameron is an inspiring young woman who has challenged herself at the highest level at Virginia to be better and to do better, and carries her mother's spirit with her everywhere she goes. It was such a heartbreaking story to hear Coach Thompson talk about what Cameron had been through. And we want to thank Cameron and her family for allowing us to share that story so that it will hopefully help and impact some others. We certainly are going to be aware at the KL Cancer Fund about Cameron Taylor's story.
No doubt, and a great reminder as Diamond Johnson steps in for her first points of the game, that you never know what somebody else is going through. So certainly our thoughts go out to Cameron and her family. Taylor playing right now with 3 fouls. She's a leading scorer, leading rebounder for this Virginia team. And the Cavaliers continue to strike from distance. That was Valladay knocking down the 3.
I've been impressed with Valladay's play today. She's been very solid and brings a tremendous quickness and athleticism off the bounce to Virginia. They can shoot the 3 like this consistently. It's really going to affect the spacing on the floor and allow Valladay to do some things off the bounce.
Johnson, tough shot. That three from Valley, by the way, snapped an 8-0 run, but then Johnson, give her another look. She gets the answer. You certainly think about the non-conference portion of the season, Debbie, as an opportunity to figure your team out, see how they're going to play together, especially in the case of a team like Virginia that has 4 transfers, 5 if you include London Clarkson, who wasn't able to play last year, plus a true freshman. So a lot of new faces there with Virginia, but you sense too that there are a lot of nice pieces here for Tina Thompson, and that tinkering is certainly still going on in terms of getting the timing right and the togetherness on the floor.
Oh, I definitely believe Coach Thompson has incredible vision. I think she knows exactly what she needs and who she needs to be able to do what she wants to do with her program. And I think she has taken some steps. Last year was a tough year. It might have put you behind a little bit in your rebuild. But certainly believe she's capable and understands what it's going to take and how much work it's going to take. And she's got a good group of kids that she enjoys being around that are working hard.
And Virginia nowhere to go but up, picked last in the ACC preseason poll. NC State, the preseason favorite.
Virginia showing some zone in this possession, and it results in a stop.
Tina Thompson told us they'd have to mix things up defensively against this high-octane NC State offense. Johnson on the break, had it blocked by Taylor. Taylor may have had a rough afternoon in terms of her offense, just 1 of 11 from the floor, but doing a lot of those other little things for her team. An 18-point lead for the Wolfpack. Twa, leading scorer for the Cavaliers this afternoon, adds 2 more. 15 now for the grad student from Paris, France.
I like the change to the zone for a few possessions. Without Kanane on the floor.
Foul against the Cavaliers. There's Kanane.
Sitting down there with Sophie Hart, who is a 6'5" freshman who is going to have a bright future at NC State. Kanane probably at the end of the bench doing a little mentoring.
Men's basketball coming your way on Wednesday. Clemson going to Virginia. That's at 8 Eastern right here on ACCN and the ESPN app. Hobby good with both free throws.
It's Kihei Clark at the top of the floor for Virginia and Tony Bennett against P.J. Hall for Clemson on the back of their D and on their front line. And P.J. Hall has really developed into a terrific basketball player for Clemson.
Debbie dropping the men's hoops knowledge. Appreciate that. While chaos ensued on the floor, the ball bounced back and forth between both teams a couple of times. Now, foul against Hobby. That'll be her third. 4th team foul of the quarter with just under 30 seconds remaining.
NC State extending for a possession.
Twa working off the screen from Taylor. Walked. And I shorted her a point. 16 points in the game. My apologies for Amadine Twa to lead Virginia. blocked. Virginia will not get a shot up. So NC State in command after 3 quarters at Reynolds Coliseum, 61-43 for the number 2 team in the country. Perfect time to wish a happy holidays to everyone. Look at the holiday flair on display in Reynolds Coliseum. They are bringing it. I have appreciated looking out in the stands and seeing that this whole game. And all right, look, I didn't wear this. I could have. Oh, and Debbie, you've got, is that like a net with some lights in it? What have you got going on? Or is it just some lights?
We could call it a net. I mean, it's just some lights. I just pulled off my office because I don't have an ugly sweater like you have, Jen.
I take that as a compliment. Thank you. Yes. Well, you know, I appreciate the effort, of course. I had some lights thrown behind me. I don't know if you could see them. I literally just threw a strand of lights in my background, hoping that would make it look festive, but it probably needs a little more work. All right, 4th quarter coming your way now from Raleigh, North Carolina. Jen Hildreth, Debbie Antonelli, the NC State Wolfpack in control. This is their 2nd conference game of the season. They opened up on the road at Pittsburgh to pick up their first ACC win. This is the ACC opener for Virginia, a team that only got to play 5 games in total last season and 2 ACC games before their university made the decision to cancel the season.
It took me a few minutes to untangle myself, so sorry I wasn't.
I really wanted you to wear that the rest of the game. Good look inside there from Canane. Give her the assist as Boyd gets the 2 points.
Well, this is going to be an opportunity for Westmore to get some playing time for some other players that haven't gotten as many minutes, so we'll get a chance to be introduced to some other players that add to the depth of NC State.
And those minutes become important.
Yeah, it's hard to break the rotation because NC State is, like we've said, 7 starters.
It's a good problem to have, but can be a problem nonetheless, just kind of trying to figure out your rotations and get everybody the game minutes that you would like. It's going to be a foul against Virginia. Twa picked up her 3rd personal just a few moments ago, but this one whistled against Parker, her 2nd. Perez has been perfect. 5 of 5 from the floor for the Wolfpack. Canane really started to go to work in the 3rd quarter. How about that finish for the preseason player of the year in the ACC?
That is what I'm talking about. One-on-one, toughness, plays the game low, uses her bounce to go around a stronger player, and draws the foul. And look at the reaction by KJ.
Well, she knows, doesn't she, how much buckets like that mean for exactly why you just pointed out, Debbie, that if there's a knock on Elisa Canane, who's been a tremendous player in her career, All-American last year for NC State, it's just wanting a little bit more toughness and demanding the ball like that, being able to finish through contact, and she did it. Clarkson just lost the handle.
The other thing, too, is Canane has no fouls after fouling out 1 time this season and being in foul trouble last game. That's a good thing, you know, that she's playing with the kind of discipline that she needs to play with because she needs to be on the floor.
Now, Westmore said that he really challenged her at halftime of that last game against Georgia, where she had to sit a good part of the first half and wound up doing a lot of damage after halftime, but had to make up for lost time.
Shot clock at 9.
Perez had to take it all the way from the other end of the floor. Still found a wide open Jada Boyd. Couple players go crashing to the floor. Canane and Balladay for Virginia. Shot up and in from Johnson.
I mean, why not? No one within even 6 feet near Diamond Johnson. It's two really good wide open looks she's had, and she's buried them.
Transfer from Rutgers on the newcomer watch list for good reason. And Tua just keeps the three-point party in play for Virginia.
9 threes and 9 twos for Virginia in the game.
So is that a good or a bad thing for Tina Thompson?
It's a good thing to make 9. It's not good for NC State that they gave up that many to a non-3-point shooting team.
Wow, tough basket there made by Perez. She is a little slow to get up there. You can see still behind the play, not back fully onto her feet yet. That is concerning for NC State. Got awfully quiet as the crowd takes this in.
Oh, it looks like she landed on the foot of that Virginia player. And look, no one likes to see anybody get hurt, and injuries have been a big storyline this season already before Christmas. It's been pretty well documented about UConn's injuries and how it's affected their team. But I will say this too, for Nell Fortner, who is also down 2 starting guards in that win over UConn. Nell has done a heck of a job. They're coming up next against Wake Forest, and they're going to play a Wake Forest team that has 1 loss to Nebraska. Jen Hoover has had a great start.
Yeah, what a matchup that could be. You got Jewel Spear leading the ACC in scoring over 22 points per game against that defense at Georgia Tech, which is so tough.
And Georgia Tech is down their best on-ball defender in Kiara Fletcher. And then Loyal McQueen, after 3 games, put herself in the portal and has ended up at Alabama. So Nell Fortner beat Connecticut without 2 starting guards. I don't think anybody has really highlighted that. That is significant. A tremendous coaching job.
Certainly, you see the second line there. Everyone aware of Paige Becker's injury for UConn. But great point, Debbie, that Georgia Tech doing it shorthanded too, and they got that big win over the Huskies. UConn right now in a tight one against Louisville. So it's a 3-point game.
I mean, that's an important fact because, you know, I was texting with Nina King, the D1 chair, who's also the athletic director at Duke, the other night about COVID and weather and injuries, and she said the committee will start looking in January and start discussing if there's a need for a minimum number of games to qualify for the tournament, or what we anticipate might be coming, you know, with COVID and the shutdown that we've seen on some games already. And, you know, we're fortunate that both of these teams could play today. And, you know, Duke and Miami were supposed to play today, and Miami has to forfeit the game, so Carol Lawson gets her first ACC win in a forfeit.
Yeah,
you know, it's tough.
I mean, to think about.
You have to know that Georgia Tech was down 2 guards, including Kiara Fletcher, in that win over UConn. It's an important fact.
Well, and I think all of those things that you just mentioned are maybe things that we all had hoped you wouldn't have to consider this season, but the reality may be proving otherwise, and some of the forfeits are showing that.
You know, I'm perfectly fine with us being in one spot with an S curve, not a G curve, so geography is taken out of the mix in the seeding of our tournament. How competitive was our tournament last year because we seeded it on an S curve, a mathematical S, not on a geography, or because this team's got to play in this regional.
Tuesday night here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. It is North Carolina hosting Appalachian State at the Dean Smith Center, 7 Eastern. Men's hoops coming your way on ACCN.
Appalachian State gave Duke a tough game the other night, so I anticipate they'll give Hubert Davis a tough game. I think North Carolina will bounce back from that Kentucky loss.
Yeah, the Wildcats had their number over the weekend out in Las Vegas. Taylor. And she is fouled, and we have a break coming up. Canaan picking up her first foul, but NC State in control of this one. Thousands have been affected by southern and Midwest tornadoes. If you would like to help, please visit redcross.org/ESPN to help the Red Cross respond and help people recover from this disaster.
Jen, I was in Louisville, Kentucky last weekend where Jeff Wall's team took on the University of Kentucky, and they came together in a water drive, and it was amazing to see how many cases of water was delivered to the arena thanks to the efforts of Jeff Walls and his team, and they participated in the water drive as well pregame, and it definitely was going to the western part of the state that has been so devastated by those tornadoes. It's been awful watching the video and the pictures of it. The recovery is going to take some time.
Yeah, no doubt. Sophie Hart, number 32, you see there in the game, picks up a foul for NC State. Westmore able to get some more minutes for some players with a sizable lead here in the fourth quarter. Lawson knocking down another jumper.
Off the stagger.
That's Isaiah James who took the initial shot. The putback is good. That was Madison Hayes, number 21. So some of those new faces you may be getting familiar with for NC State. Isaiah James, a freshman out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. Madison Hayes, a transfer from Mississippi State.
What a great hustle play by Madison Hayes on the other end of the floor, and then saves it out of bounds.
Genesis Bryant down the court for the Wolfpack.
Getting a look at some of those new players. Jessica Timmons on the floor as well for NC State right now. And I think, Debbie, if you're Virginia, we've talked about their three-point shooting has been good. There are a lot of positives. Look, this was going to be a tough test no matter what. They knew that. The preseason favorite in the league, the number 2 team in the country, on the road. That's how you open ACC play after an 11-day layoff. That's no easy task.
No, and coming off a loss to add that on top of it, you knew they would be hungry to get a win. But I think, Coach Thompson's going to have some film that she can go and break down. I think it's a great teaching tool to help her team understand where they were able to take advantage, where the good parts were of how they played against the number 2 team, and then what they need to do to get better. I mean, Tina Thompson's one of the all-time greats that's played our game. She certainly knows how to play it, and I believe she knows how to teach it.
And the Cavaliers will go out of conference for one more game before Christmas, December 22nd at Texas Southern, and then it is all ACC all the time as they have a couple of home games. Notre Dame and Miami, their first 2 in conference at home starting December 30th. A good effort to try to keep the ball in bounds, but it winds up in the hands of the Cavaliers. Here is Chua, nice move. She already has a season high in points of 20, tied her season high with those 20 points today. We said she'd have to have a good game, Debbie. I mean, she has.
Yeah, she's 8 for 13 from the floor. She's played 35 minutes. She's got 20 points. And Valladay, I thought, played well. They got to get something from their interior. They didn't get much from the inside tonight. And you got to have somebody who can score on the block, or you got to get points in the paint.
So a couple of bullet points Virginia may be looking at coming out of this one. Lawson has been able to give some nice minutes off the bench. Picks up the foul on this play, though.
Shooting the bonus.
I don't know if Wes is going to sleep any better tonight because his team won, but hopefully he will, because I know he hasn't had much sleep the last few nights. And he studies, he tweaks, he cares. He wants to win for these kids. And it's there's some pressure on NC State. There's no question. There's high expectations. Maybe the highest expectations NC State's ever had.
Yeah, they were in the AP preseason poll picked 5th, which was the highest for the Wolfpack since 1979-80 season. So yeah, there are some expectations coming in as the two-time defending tournament champs in the ACC. 3 straight Sweet 16 appearances as well. And for NC State, Debbie, they have a bit of a break after this game. They'll go on the road to Clemson for their next one. That's not until December 30th, and then they host North Carolina January 6th.
For the Cavaliers.
Coming up next, we were talking about this should be a good one. It's been a quadruple header today on ACC Network. Don't leave yet, because this one could have some meaning down the road, Debbie.
Well, Georgia Tech has had 2 big wins over Georgia and over UConn, and Wake Forest has only 1 loss, and that is to Nebraska in the ACC Big Ten Championship or Challenge. So this should be really competitive, and Jewel Spear can fill it up. She is a shoot till your arm falls off kind of player.
So we just got your catchphrase and Kelly Gramlich's catchphrase in there for Jewel, Fear the Spear. Kelly in studio, I know, is appreciating that shout out right now. Fun player to watch, though. We got a bunch of those in the ACC. And a couple of good defensive efforts here. The crowd applauding that of Madison Hayes.
Yes, I respect what Madison Hayes has done here in the 4th quarter. She did not get any minutes against Georgia, and she's coming out here and she's saying to Wes Moore right now, I want to win and I want to play, and I'm going to do what I need to do to get on the floor. And she has been outstanding in the last few minutes. Hustle, hardworking, and impactful.
What were the words that you said Stanford coach Tara Vanderveer told you she tells all of her players?
Force me to play you. 5 words.
And this is your time, right? If you're a player like Madison Hayes, who's a member of the SEC All-Freshman team with Mississippi State last year, make the most of the minutes you're given.
Totally.
And earn some more.
You know, when Madison Hayes came here and decided to come to NC State, she knew there were 5 starters returning. So did Diamond Johnson. Yet it really speaks to their experience that they wanted to have with this group of upperclassmen. They wanted to add. And they've inserted themselves into a really good group of kids.
Shot off the inbounds. Won't fall for Virginia. That was McKenna Dale. Grad transfer from Brown, joining the Cavaliers this season. Step in the shot, no good. Final seconds ticking away here from Reynolds Coliseum. The Wolfpack wanted to bounce back, and they will do so, picking up their 2nd ACC win of the season in commanding fashion. And the Virginia Cavaliers, I think, certainly taking some good points out of this ACC opener for them as well. But Debbie, NC State gets the job done, coming off the loss in their last game to Georgia.
It's a great bounce-back win off a tough loss, and I think Westmore has their attention. You can obviously see they did a better job defensively, and the practice and the film work the last couple of days has paid off for NC State.
82-55, our final score as the Wolfpack get the win. Reina Perez, Elisa Canane leading the way. We've got Wake Forest, Georgia Tech coming up next. But first, we're going to get into the studio so they can get you set on the day's action in ACC women's hoops. A lot of games going on. So for now, we'll say goodbye from Raleigh and send you to the studio and Dallin Cuff.